You should be familiar with return to top icons or buttons. I've got one on my screen over here in the bottom right. You hit it and it takes you to the top. But as I scroll down, can you notice we have a progress tracker kicking in as well? And you could have this on a page or a post or anywhere you want. And I've got this in my header template. It doesn't matter where I am on the screen. I click it and it takes me back to the top. This is really easy to do. And I'm going to show you how. I'm inside of my header template and I've got a couple of containers and I've done everything I'm going to show you now in a separate container just so it's easy for you to understand. You could have this in one header template or container, but you could also have it somewhere on your page as well. It doesn't have to be in a header template. The benefit of it being in the header template is that it will now be visible throughout every single page on your website. And if you want to do that, it's not a bad thing to do. Or you could add this to a single post template as well. So maybe got a really big article and you might put some menu anchors or an ID somewhere. And anytime you click it, it returns you back to a particular location. Now, there is something I do just want to cover off with this particular container at the top over here. If you go to the advanced tab, you will see that the CSS ID is top. You got to make sure you go and set your menu anchor. Now, some of you may be used to using a menu anchor widget, but if you just go over to the advanced tab and give it the ID top, and it could be a container, a heading, an image, a video, any element on your page, that will become your menu anchor. You don't have to add the menu anchor widget. Okay, inside of this container, I then went and added in an icon and, pick your particular icon you want to go for, style it out however you want. I'm not going to go over the styling, but you can do that here, setting your size and your colors. The two important things with the icon though is that the link must be hashtag top. Basically just takes it back over to the element where you've given it an ID of top, okay? So if I had given my very top container or where I want it to scroll up to, and I'd called it Pokemon, you would pop in hashtag Pokemon. The second important thing is that you must now set this to be a fixed position. So it's always going to be fixed to the bottom right or wherever I've gone and positioned it, no matter where I am on the page. If we go to the advanced tab and scroll down to where we have position, I've gone and set it to be fixed. Now, as soon as you do that, your horizontal and vertical orientation will kick in. And I've said push it over to the far right and to the far bottom. If you look at the top of the screen, if I go and do that, it's going to go to the top. So you can see how that's working. But rather than it being right up against the border, I then went and set 25 pixel offset on the right and 45 pixel offset from the bottom. Let me just show you what happens if I remove that. You can see it now goes down further below. Let's pop it up to 45. And if I get rid of this and pop it there, you can see it's gone all the way over to the right. So let's put it back. The other thing I did was just set the Z index to be 99. Depending on how you build this, you don't want your progress tracker in front of your icon because you want to be able to click the icon for it to go to wherever you want it to go to. So important steps, give your parent container a CSS ID top. When you add in your icon, hashtag top for the link, and then go and set up the fixed positioning. You can mess around with this, okay? There's no set rule on how you have to do it. You're probably going to have a bit of a smaller icon. The next thing was to go and add in the progress track. So inside of here, I just decided it was going to be circular rather than a horizontal line. I've decided it's going to be relative to the entire page and not just the post content. Look, mess around with it, play around with it, preview it, and you'll get a better understanding of what these do. I've set it to go clockwise. So if I had set it to start from the left, as I now scroll down, can you see it goes anti-clockwise? If you go right, it will go in a clockwise format, which I think makes pretty much perfect sense. I'm not going to show the percentage, and then I've gone and set my colors and my sizing. Now, I do want to point out that the icon, if we go to style, the size was set to 35, but the progress tracker was set to 80. You are going to have to play around with this a bit, okay? And you will eventually work out the perfect size you want to go for. Now, if I just show you over here, if I was to set the width to be really small, you can hardly see it. You go too big and it starts to look really odd. I'm just going to leave this as 15 for now, something like that. I've got no background at all. If I had gone and set a background like this and go and adjust the width, you can now see what it's doing. So my advice would be don't have any color. Let's just get rid of that and drop it down to be 0. Just like with the icon, we have to now adjust the position of it. So go over to the advanced tab, scroll down, set the position to be fixed. Again, right side, bottom side in terms of horizontal and vertical orientation. So it sits over there. If you want it in the top left, just go and switch it over to be top and left and it will go over to your top left. So please don't feel like it's got to be in your bottom right. But from a user experience point of view, I think it works quite well in the bottom right. And when I've gone and done my offsetting for the horizontal and the vertical, your numbers won't be exactly the same as what you used previously. So I've gone from 25 to 20 and 45 to 46. You adjust it, play around with it a bit, and you'll understand what you need to do. And don't forget, if you want to have it smaller or slightly different positioning for the mobile, switch over to the mobile view and go and mess around with your values. And that's basically it. So as I scroll down now, you can see it kicking in over there. I click the icon and it takes me back to the top. So if you've got return to top buttons, but you also have started thinking, how can I make it a little bit more imaginative or make my client go, wow, why don't you go and add in a progress tracker as well? Or not. I'm Imran from Web Squadron. I hope you like, subscribe, share, and follow. I'll see you soon.